It's Mr. Box Office, the main event, the professor of truth and entertainment, the ratings killer. And if you don't know, you need to get to know. And welcome to Box Office City with your host, again, with the most, Mr. Box Office himself. And back to say what really needs to be said, to unleash. So let's get straight to it, because I don't know how long this is going to be. So big up to everyone in the chat. Like I say, like Henry Wright says, lateness is greatness. Do apologize for the lateness, but as I say, you need to keep this face good, looking good for everyone, and that's it. Because we're going to get straight into it. With the theme of the show today is best performance of the season by Tottenham. We'll get straight into it, because that's number one. Number one, why did Mr. Box Office think Tottenham's performance against Manchester City was the best performance of the season? Number two, why do I think Tottenham Hotspur have got a chance of winning the league, of winning the title, but will not succeed? Number three, why Manchester City look bored? We'll get into that as well. Spoiler alert, it's something that you might be surprised what Mr. Box Office says here on that subject. But number four, why Ange Postegulu will not be Mr. Box Office's favourite manager. We'll wait and see on that one, won't we? And number five, well, we're going to preview the Tottenham Hotspur match against West Ham tomorrow, late under the lights at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So let's get straight to it, because let's get your seatbelts strapped in, because Mr. Box Office is ready to start unleashing tonight. With a load of you here tonight wondering where Mr. Box Office has been. Well, let's just say this. Well, I feel a bit tired. I feel a bit tired with all the stuff, and I feel really tired, very, very tired. Tired of all the rubbish that I hear from some Tottenham fans. I've got to say this. Oh my gosh. I've hardly been away for that long. And it's right on cue again with Tottenham Hotspur fans again. You know, like I said before, one draw against Man City. I'm not really surprised. We start saying we're title contenders. And maybe I'm a bit of a hypocrite, because I've just said, why do I think Tottenham Hotspur might be title contenders? But I'll explain why they're not, why they won't succeed, and why they are. You've heard it before anyway. But let's get into the first subject of today, with the first subject being, why did I think Tottenham Hotspur's draw was the best performance of the season? Well, let's get straight to it. Let's look at it from this. When we look at the team against Man City, you look at the team of Man City against Man City. You see the formation that we played. Now, for me, the whole thing with Postecoglou, I think it was very bold what the plays that he played against Man City. The fact that he played Emerson and Davis in defence again, who for me weren't too bad against Aston Villa, even though they made little mistakes. But what did we expect from players like Emerson and Davis, who are their main positions are fullbacks, but they're not used to playing centre back? Even though Davis has played in the three, and really he's kind of going into that position right now as a centre back, because of his pace is drying up, and he's going to get found out as a left back now, because if you've got a fast-paced winger against him, he's always going to struggle against that sort of player. And also, when you've got Emerson, who's really much maligned as a fullback, but he's more stronger as a defender than an attacking fullback. But when you look at that, and then you put Kulusevski, who, for me, I was clambering for this guy to be in the centre, in the number 10. I was clambering for him. I sat there and thought, if it's not going to work on the right, which was not working on the right, he might be doing good work defensively, but attacking-wise, he was failing, absolutely failing his position. Making note of the fact that he is still a reject in my eyes from Juventus, but the reject from Juventus, we'll get onto that another time anyway. We'll get onto that later on in the show. But the fact that he played him in the centre, he played okay against Aston Villa, looked good. Then you had Gill, who had Brian Hill, who had another opportunity down the left. Then you had then you had Johnson, who, for me, again, had another opportunity there on the right. Then you have Lo Celso, who, again, by what people were saying against Aston Villa, had a good game. I beg to differ on that, but he had an okay game. Could have done more, in my opinion. Then you have Basuma, who came back from suspension. And then you had Song up front against a team that was pretty much full strength against Man City. So when you look at that, you thought, don't look good. Don't look good at all. A full strength Manchester City team who just came back from being behind against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. They drew their last couple of games. But let's be honest here, they still were very frightening with Haaland up front, even though I called him above average John Carew without the goals. He's still a threat because he scores goals and he's a goal scorer. I mean, I'm kind of hypocritical because if I rated Alan Shearer, like someone said to me, you got to rate Haaland. You got to rate Haaland as a goal scorer, definitely. Doku, who's came to the Premier League by storm. Foden, Alaves, who's a very good partner for Haaland. Then you've got the defence of Guardiola, who everyone was waxing lyrical in the summer, and everybody wanted him from every top team wanted him. Diaz, Kyle Walker, and then obviously the brilliant Rodri. You're looking at that side and you're sitting there thinking you're going to get Tottenham have got a really hard task of at least getting a draw out of this game, and not even probably even looking at leaking a few goals, especially with the defence that we've got. But when you look at the start that we made, we put our focus on what we wanted to do straight away at Manchester City, and that was something that I have to be applauding. The fact that Son taking the opportunity he's taken, because he knew that he's had some good records at Manchester City before, scoring goals there in the Champions League. He's done it in the Premier League as well. So he's got confidence and he's got previous at Manchester City. So he's not overruled by the occasion playing Manchester City. And you look at it, we go in straight away, even though Man City really start on the front foot straight away, we don't get overruled by the situation, because the fact is that Postecoglou made it very, very clear that he was going to attack. He's not going to change his tactics. I think the difference is against Man City, we started to see a little bit more about him adapting his tactics to Manchester City. And this is an important thing. This is why I say it needs time to breathe, because the only time you're going to really understand how he's going to understand how to adapt his tactics to certain games and certain games and certain matches is he needs time with the players. And he's not going to know that in 10 or 11 or 12 games. And we've seen a little bit of that against Man City. And that's what's come from the goal. Tottenham Hotspur was still thinking attacking wise. You might have thought in the previous seasons when Tottenham Hotspur were defending, they would go. Sometimes they would go straight on the attack, but because we are very much more looking to attack play at teams now, not just defend and try and play that high line and try and go on the front foot and still play our free-flowing attacking football, trying to play from the back as well. We're gonna give opportunities to ourselves to try and get at the opposition. And that's what we did. Gill made a very good start from the pass, even though I wasn't really impressed with him that game, for the whole game. And it got Kulusevski going. And Tottenham Hotspur with Son attacking the Manchester City defence, he was able to get into the 6-yard box and shoot and score. Now, for me, that was just showing you why Song is very good. When he's on the front foot, running at the defence, with his pace, he's very, very good at that. And he's very, very clinical. That's been his MO this season. He has been very, very clinical. Unfortunately, he was very clinical at the other end as well when he scored that own goal, which really, let's be honest here, was just unlucky. Very unlucky with the own goal. Let's be honest here. Now, for me, I have to be honest. I was quite impressed the fact that Tottenham Hotspur started really well, but you could see the Wolves were coming. The Manchester City were coming. They were coming at us, and it was only a matter of time because they were building up more chances, and that was the problem. It was a bit worrying because you just thought after that first goal from Manchester City, that own goal, you're worried that the gates were going to flood open, and that was the problem. And it unfortunately did. Unfortunately. And after the goal from Foden, which was a very, very good goal, I have to say this. Very good goal, very good passing move. Davis maybe was at fault because he moved away from his position. But let's be honest here. With the defence that we had, we still, even though we made mistakes, and Emerson made a lot of mistakes, let's be honest here. And I'm not his fan. I'm not a fan of his at all. But let's be honest here. From how he is as a player, he didn't affect us as much. Manchester City didn't punish us. And I think that was the problem for Manchester City. They didn't punish us when we needed to be punished. You know, when ruthless Man City would have punished every single mistake that we were making, especially Emerson at the back. Davis made a few mistakes, and obviously Basuma, we'll get to him in a bit, wasn't as good as what he's been the last couple of games that he's been first couple of games that he's been at Tottenham this season. But when you look at the whole point that the team kept on going and the heads didn't go down, they knew the whole task of what they wanted to do, what Postecoglou wanted from them. You have to give them a lot of praise for what they did and got through that first half, especially after that goal. We did get lucky when they scored when they hit the post. Doku hit the bar, which really, to be honest, that was going in every single time. Haaland should have scored. He had an off game, let's be honest. But overall, you have to look at it. We got through that first half, and that was the main thing, getting through that first half at just 2-1 to give us the opportunity to just regroup. And they did regroup because Postecoglou, for some reason now, has got that way of trying to inspire the players. He's done it. He did it against Arsenal. He did it against Chelsea. Yeah, he has that way of trying to inspire the players into going again. Previous Tottenham teams in the past, the second half would have been the downturn of Tottenham Hotspur. The first half would have been good, really good, and the downturn would have been bad. I mean, I can remember a lot of games under Conte where Tottenham were very good in the first half, but then second half we weren't really good at all, and it was just becoming very frustrating. It was only one half Tottenham Hotspur really turned up, and that was it. But second half, after a substitution from Postecoglou, bringing off Gil for Højbjerg, Tottenham Hotspur just went again, and that was it. And I think that was the most impressive thing I have to say about Tottenham Hotspur. Even though Man City had the threat in behind us, we still kept on playing our game. And I think that's what we're going to learn from playing this way, is that you're only going to learn when you go through these sort of games. And that was it. That's why I didn't criticise Postecoglou for what he did against Fulham, what he did against in the Carabao Cup, because look at some of the players that are playing now. Most of those players were playing that Carabao Cup are playing right now for the team now because of the injuries we've got. And what did I say? What did I say? In lots of channels, I've said the team that was starting against the main 11 that were playing were not going to be the same players that are going to be playing at the end of the season. And you're seeing that right now. And essentially, you see with the whole thing with what's going on, what the way that we sat, we got back on the break. Lo Celso scores the goal to equalise for Tottenham Hotspur. And then you're looking at it and thinking Tottenham Hotspur have actually got a chance of winning this game because the momentum's with Tottenham Hotspur, especially the fact that Man City are missing chances. And even though Man City had very good chances, it's also about being clinical in front of goal. And that was the clinical thing about Tottenham Hotspur. The fact that they did take their opportunities when it was there. And that's the crucial point about playing Man City, is taking your opportunities when you get them. It's shown it again. Kulu was absolutely fantastic. He kept on running, kept on going on the half turn. He was a nuisance, absolute nuisance. And to be honest with you, when you see the connection between him and Lo Celso, that really helped the team grow further, especially when you had Pora on the right that was always crossing it in as well. You had Son, who was always dangerous from behind. It was quite amazing to see Tottenham Hotspur, because what Postecoglou said, and by the way, I might be talking a lot about Postecoglou, but there'll be reasons why I'll talk about him more later. But I'm not just blowing smoke and saying, being positive about him for the sake of it. I'm just looking at what he did and how he approached it and adapted his tactics to Man City, which for me was very commendable. And you have to give him credit. He used the substitutions very well as well. He used his substitutions brilliantly well when he brought on Ollie Skip, and he also brought on Richarlison as well, and Højbjerg. The in-game management helped Tottenham as well. Even though, unfortunately, we did let in a goal against the run of play. Well, I would say Manchester City scored, and then it was 3-2. You still would have looked at it and said, well, that was a very good goal from Tottenham Hotspur. But luckily, Tottenham Hotspur ended up getting a last-minute winner, a last-minute draw against last-minute draw with Kulu. Kulusevski with a brilliant header, beating the defender as well, and Akanji. And that, for me, that was showing you what Tottenham Hotspur were all about. It was a fantastic cross from Johnson. And the fact that he got that cross in, and then it was just really a case of Kulu just getting his head on the ball, getting it on target, and it was a very good, ended up being a very good draw for Tottenham Hotspur. And for me, it's shown a lot of bottle in the Tottenham Hotspur team. It's shown a lot of fight, but also shown that they kept to their what they needed to do, as well as what they wanted to achieve in terms of showing that they're still going to play good football, still play from the back, and not be afraid and be willing to attack when they need to attack, and that's it. Now, for me, that was pretty good, really good, and that's why I have to give Tottenham Hotspur a lot of credit for that game, and why. And looking at the team that we had as well, pretty brilliant as well. The fact that we got through the game with the team that we had a lot of injuries, and that shows that we're trying to learn that even if the squad has got a lot of injuries, we still can. The players should still step up, because that's what a big club does. Regardless whether you are second choice or not, when you've got the opportunity, you take your opportunity, and that's it. And for me, that's shown a lot in that game than most of the games that we've seen the first 10 games, because you learn about the squad. You learn about the squad of players that not normally in the team, but you've shown that they can actually fight for their place as well. And it also makes it clear that players like Van der Ven, well, I think Van der Ven will end up being back in the team. Romero's definitely be back in the team against West Ham, yes, because you can't carry on with Emerson, who did make mistakes in defence. But when you look at players like the Celso, who still needs to impress for me, because I still think he wants to leave. He still wants to leave, pardon me. When you got Kulu, who shown that he can play in that number 10 role, and he can even play the number 6 role just by defending, but also starting off attacks as well. You've got Davis, who can play centre defence. And then you got Højbjerg, who's been very reliable, even though still bang average. He is still, in my opinion, he can still do a good job. There's still question marks whether we should keep him in January, in my eyes, because if he still wants to leave and he's not going to sign the contract, I don't see the point of keeping him. But again, that looks at what we can bring in January, because we can't let him go if he's still part of the squad. But overall, it has to be the best performance of the season for me, because of those circumstances. Why we kept strong, we kept going, we kept to playing the philosophy that Postecoglou wanted to do, and we kept our nerve, and that's it. And for me, the manager takes a lot of credit for it because of his tactics. The players take a lot of credit for fulfilling his tactics. They did run. They did get lucky as well. I'll be honest with you, because Manchester City should have scored more goals and should have been well out of sight in the first half. Yes, but overall, one of the best performances of the season, 100%. So that just gets in straight to it with my first going into what I feel is why I think it was the best performance of the season. If you agree with me or disagree with me, say it in the comments. But if you can, do me a big favor. If you can like the stream, like and subscribe to Mr. Box Office TV. We are very close to 1,000 subscribers. if we can get to that mental, that would be great. That'd be really appreciated. And thank you for everybody that's watching. And we're going to get straight into it. We're going to get into another subject because we've spoken about the game and spoken about why I think the game was very, very good. Also, just to say this as well, because I was thinking about this for quite a while about the Manchester City match. I was thinking about why we play. I felt it was the best performance of the season as well, and I just felt that we kept. It was the same thing I felt against Chelsea. I think for me, it was one of those things for me that because Tottenham Hotspur were very dangerous on the counter-attack and we kept playing our philosophy with Ange Postegulu's philosophy, Manchester City were crumbling. They were getting worried, getting very, very worried. You could see Haaland. Haaland was like getting very, very frustrated. And you could see in the celebration of Grealish when he scored that third goal, it was kind of like a release of frustration because Tottenham Hotspur are very, very stubborn, but also very flamboyant in terms of trying to get around Man City. And I think there was a bit of worries for Man City that this team could actually get a victory out of this game if Tottenham Hotspur had taken more opportunities, and that was it. Yes, I have to be honest here. Tottenham Hotspur should have lost the game more goals, but again, like I said, Manchester City should have scored their chances. I mean, when you look at the players that we've got, Lo Celso, for instance, I've heard a lot of people now saying that they need to give him a chance now. He didn't have his opportunities and stuff. Well, let's be honest here. We could say that about a lot of players, like Dele Alli, Harry Winks, Bergwijn. But, there's a lot of players that have... Wham Foyth, didn't get an opportunity, got shipped off on loan. Didn't get... This is the thing, I think... And the thing is, though, Lo Celso has only just turned up right now. I was told that he didn't have the manager right for him. But maybe it's just his attitude, and that was it. Kulu's now stepped up now, but he needs to carry it on. You can't just do it in 2 games and then think it's okay. No, it's not. Because top teams, you've got to do it more. This is why fans get annoyed with some players, because they turn up in certain games when it's all against them, but when they're right up there, you don't see, they don't carry on the form, they don't get better, they don't develop further, develop their game even further to become even better. Because unfortunately, when you don't do that, you get found out, and that's it for me, and that's the problem for me, and that's it. But this is the frustration for me with players, because the thing is, though, I don't think they realise that if you take your opportunity, why would the player that's out the team be able to get back into the team then? It makes no sense. You're playing well, you've got that position, so make it your own. Make it your own. I remember when Grandshaw came for Tottenham, and he was our number 1 left midfielder. I remember that quite a lot. I remember that. And Harry Redknapp absolutely loved him. It was just under Harry Redknapp. Then Gareth Bale came into the fore, and you saw what happened. Gareth Bale started to, he started to play really well, and then Kranjčar couldn't get into the team. What happened to Kranjčar? Ended up getting sold because Gareth Bale taking his opportunity. Gareth Bale taking his opportunity and ran with it. and became one of Tottenham's best players. Doesn't say a lot, doesn't it? Doesn't say a lot at all, doesn't it? Honestly. But big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to everyone in the chat. Thank you all for listening. But like I say, we've got still more to go because we're going to get into it more, and that's it. So big up to everybody. Let's just say hello to everybody that's in the chat today. You got Glenn Hoddle. Big up to you. Big up to you, Tom Thatcher. Big up to you, Secret Limited. Big up to you. Big up to you, Lee Smith. Big up to you, Carl Patrick KPV. Big up to you. Big up to you, Phil. Big up to you, Ellie, the Queen. Big up to you, JJ. Big up to you, Mark Cousins. Big up to you. If it's, I'm not going to pronounce your name, sorry, but big up to you. Big up to you. Big up to you. Let's be honest, we were always in danger of hitting poor injury form once we started losing players through injury. Yep, I agree. Absolutely agree. Big up to you, Mia. Big up to you. Big up to you, Simon Hill. Big up to you. Big up to you, Kuva. Big up to you. Big up to you. And big up to you. Big up to you. Yeah, Emerson's not great, but I have to give him credit. And big up to you, Robert Wilson. Big up to you. Big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to you. And like I said, we're going to get straight into it. Big up to you, Nick Brown, as well. Big up to you as well. Big up to you, Donovan as well. Big up to you. And like I said, we're going to get straight into it because we keep it fast-paced here on Mr. Box Office TV, the host of the most, like they say every single time, with number 2. Subject number 2. Why could Tottenham have a chance of winning the league but will not succeed? It's quite simple. Quite simple. I said what I said in my last couple of videos before. Yes, Tottenham Hotspur have a chance of winning the league. Yes, because of the manager. Because it's all about managers at the moment. It's all about managers now. Managers are a big effect on whether you can win the league or not. It's not just the players, because the managers got the system in place right now. If you have the good system in place with the players that work well in that system, you got a tactical manager that we've got clearly a tactical manager, a tactical coach that knows his tactics very well and is good at in-game management sometimes as well. And you've got the luck of the draw, you can win the league. You can win the league. You don't need world-class players to win the league, no. But will Tottenham Hotspur win the league? No. No way. Absolutely no way. Too early to say right now Tottenham Hotspur can win this league at the moment because we've only just started with this manager. You can argue that we had our manager bounce earlier on in the season, 100%. Especially the fact that mostly we didn't have any injuries. We had mostly our first 11 for most of the games in the first 10 to 11 games. I mean, Tottenham Hotspur haven't really gone through massive adversity yet. When I mean that is that where players, that honeymoon period of like saying, oh, I love the manager, oh, I love this football. When you're doing it season in, season out, and when I mean season in, season out, maybe for the second season, what are you going to be doing then? Are you going to be up for it then? When you're maybe tired from a World Cup, or maybe you're tired from, the season before, the exploits there. This is the thing I'm saying at the moment. This is the thing I have to say. This is why I don't think Tottenham Hotspur got the chance. And also, another thing as well why I don't think we got a chance is because all I hear from Tottenham fans is, can we get into the top 4? Now, firstly, it's not top 4 anymore; it's top 5 because you can get into the top 5 now and get and get Champions League. So, this is the thing. You can get, you can get into Champions League for top 5. Another thing as well about this is that I think the attitude should be what you're going to win, not what position you're in to get Champions League. I mean, we had that same problem under Pochettino, the same problem under Harry Redknapp. We weren't looking to win anything, and the problem was, the problem is that winning breeds success. I mean, everyone was like saying, make fun of West Ham that they won the Tin Pot Cup in the Conference League. But look how much it's done a lot of wonders for Declan Rice. I mean, he's gone to Arsenal now, and he feels like a winning player now. He feels like he's got the bit between his teeth now. So he's gone into Arsenal and said, you know what, guys? We're going to give it a good go. Yeah? And even though they got lucky against Luton, and I still think there's something about what they're doing at the moment. I don't think they're going to. I don't think that's sustainable. I think that's the same thing that Tottenham Hotspur were doing last season. I was hearing the same noises last season, but I don't think they can sustain that. I don't think they can sustain playing like that, Arsenal, by the way. But back onto what I'm saying about Tottenham. I think the difference between Arsenal and Tottenham, though, Arsenal have gone through their down patch. They've gone through the doubters. Arteta's gone through the doubts. They've gone through the doubts of what they can achieve with this manager. Postecoglou hasn't, and this is the thing. And I think it also is important to see whether they'll get when they need to really move it up a little bit more, push this a little bit more. We're trying to get signings through the door, and that's the thing. So again, January is going to be important. The thing I'm confused about with January is that now I'm hearing people saying, "Oh, what about Daniel Levy? If Daniel Levy better back Postecoglou, better back Postecoglou." And I was like thinking, firstly, these are the same people that were saying. These are the same people that were saying that we need to enjoy it. By the way, enjoy the way that we're playing. Enjoy it, which I thought was a load of rubbish. Because are you actually enjoying it now? No, you're not. Because some of you were still complaining about the Chelsea game and stuff like that. And those are the same people that were saying to me, "Oh, you need to enjoy it. You need to enjoy it. You need to enjoy it." I'm like, why? I'm only going to enjoy it when I know where we're going to get to at the end of the season. And that's it. And that's going to take a long time. And that's it. So that's the first thing. Secondly, I mean, at the end of the day, I've made myself absolutely clear. I've been through too much disappointment for me to say, oh, you know what? I'm just going to be put the blinkers on and say, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this, man. I'm just going to enjoy the way we play. No, they have, as Tottenham Hotspur have been very, very disappointing. Have disappointed me throughout my childhood. They've been disappointed throughout Alice's childhood. Now, for me, I can't let it go. They've got to show more consistency and show that they're willing to stick with a plan, which is what Tottenham Hotspur failed to do over time. Now, if they stick with a plan, we've got a chance of winning the league. There's still question marks on doing that. Well, let's not change it. Let's change it from winning the league to being successful. Let's look at it like that. Because we've got youngsters that are coming through that are looked as the class of 92 from Manchester United, that's similar to those players. So you've got all three ages playing the same way of football. So we are going to stick to this plan. So if we're sticking to this plan, there's no reason why we can't be successful. Because when we go through that adversity, will know the plan is still the plan. And if we can get through it and understand what's going wrong with this way of playing, understand why the reason why these things have gone wrong, these things have gone wrong, and trying to adapt to the why those things have gone wrong, there's no reason why we can't be successful. But you have to go through the pain to get through to the success. And only some teams have been able to do that. But they always go through their adversity, and that's it. Now, if Tottenham Hotspur go through that adversity and stick with the philosophy that they want to do, there's no reason why we can't be successful. Arsenal have proved it. Brighton have proved it in a small way, in small example. Liverpool proved it. But the problem is, I can't go on, because the problem is you're going to always be a flip flop as a YouTube creator if you're reacting every single week to every match, because you're only judging it on what you're playing, and that's it. What Tottenham do in the match, and that's it. So one game I'll say we're playing rubbish, we're playing crap, and then another game we'll say, well, that was okay. That was okay. But when you're reacting to every single match, you can't really make a judgment until you've seen a massive amount of games. And then you can see that window and think, okay, I see where we're going with this. But it's way too soon. So to answer the question, why do I think Tottenham Hotspur have got a chance of winning the league? It's quite simple. It's a bang average League One. 2, Tottenham Hotspur have got a philosophy, and they've got a manager that has got good tactics, and has got to know how of winning things as well. And if Tottenham Hotspur carry on this process, yes, they can, through the adversity, and maybe in the future, maybe they would be able to do that. But the question marks are there. I don't believe that they're going to keep with the strategy, because knowing Tottenham Hotspur, when the light is at the end of the tunnel, they always want to change things. And that's where my doubt is every single time. And that's it. And that's the reason why they're not, I don't think they're going to succeed, and that's it. So big up to everybody. Hopefully that was an explanation to explain why I think we could win the league in the future, but will not succeed. What's your thoughts? What is your thoughts? And let's while we're doing that, let's get into the next subject. And the next subject is, which is a very, very interesting subject. Why? And this is number 3. Number 3. Why Manchester City look bored against Tottenham Hotspur? Now, this is a subject why the reason why I brought this subject up, because I've heard a lot of pundits saying that they look bored. I've heard a lot of pundits saying that they're not the same. They're not the same. They're not the same. They're not the same team anymore. They're not the same at all. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching, and I'm sitting there and watching everyone talking about Man City. Now, in my opinion, I look at Man City right now. I think they're at a crossroads right now. They won the treble last season. They won the treble last season, right? They won the unprecedented treble last season, where they won the FA Cup, the Premier League, and the Champions League. Now, for me, that was pretty much very good. That's the ultimate, basically. same as Manchester United, the ultimate success, winning one of the best trophies have to be, and that's it. Now, when you look at it like this, you've got players that have won those trophies. Now, what can they do to do better? What is the better that they can? What else can they achieve that is better what they achieved last season? And the answer is the quadruple. We're not going to win the quadruple because they're at the Carabao Cup now. So then you're saying to Man City players, okay, so what can you do to keep to achieving to what they wanted to achieve this season, last season, the same last season? And that is a very, very hard challenge to do, especially when you've just achieved what you achieved. You put so much into last season, especially a season with the World Cup in the middle of it. And now you want to achieve something more. Just need to put some drink in it. Now you want to achieve something more. You want to achieve something more. It will achieve something similar to what you were achieving this season. Now, when you look at it like that, that's a very hard challenge to make. That's a very hard challenge. And for some of those players to get to that level of trying to achieve that for me, I mean that's hard for players to achieve. Even for someone like Haaland, who scores a lot of goals and was fantastic last season. Even though some games he looked like above average John Carew, there's games where he was just inferior to everyone. And there is a case of saying you can find things too easy. And let's be honest here, they found it very, very easy. Man City did find it very, very easy to get through us. You can say it against other teams as well. Only like the top teams, you can look at it like saying that certain teams like Liverpool, Chelsea, yeah, it's more of a challenge, yes, but still, they still attack a pond and get through easily sometimes because they've got such a very good team and they're very used to winning. But where is the motivation there? The only motivation is that Guardiola is saying you got to keep on going. He will not let them stop, which is what a top manager does. But in the same time, it's hard to really get yourself back up when you've achieved the ultimate. And this is the thing. I think, in some way, when you're going again, you've achieved the ultimate of the ultimate. It's hard to try and go back again and try and achieve something higher, but even similar to what they just achieved, which was a fantastic achievement, winning the treble like they did last season. Well, the ultimate treble, because they won the treble beforehand, but they didn't win the Champions League with that. They only won all the domestic cups. So ultimately, it's about what they can achieve. What can they really achieve this season to try and match up to what they did last season? And the answer is it's not easy. They can't do that. They can't do that because it's a very hard thing to do second time round. So ultimately, they may have to just focus on one thing or one trophy or a couple of trophies to try and achieve, and that's it. And again, with a team that's developing again because they lost a few players, which I think was down to the fact that they've achieved what they've achieved already, and they decided to move on, like Mahrez, for instance. There was players there that just needed to move on for their own careers because they've achieved the ultimate there as well, and they brought in some new players that maybe not to the level. They've got potential there. Guardiola, fantastic. Doku, fantastic. I've still got question marks on Grealish if he wants to really be there. at the moment. They might get somebody else as well. They might get other players as well. But I think it's just really down to the fact that, they achieved such a big achievement last season that, they need, it's hard to get yourself to that point of trying to achieve something more better than that when they're not going to do that this season. So really, it's just what they're trying to achieve, similar to what they achieved last season, and that's still a lot of a challenge, even for a big squad like Man City. Now, people will say to me, "Well, they're cheats because they've done this. They've got charges against them." Well, again, I'm not going to get into that because that's behind the scenes. But what I'm saying is, what they achieved was very good, and this is why you look at teams, managers like Sir Alex Ferguson when he won his treble at Manchester United, and why he's looked as one of the best managers of the decades, of the past decades, because he was able to still churn out success after success after success with the players, because he knew he had to, look at trying to changing the squad, because some players have got that motivation and don't have that motivation after what they achieved the following that season, and he could see it in the players' eyes, and that's it. And that's why Guardiola is a very good manager, because he knows when to let go of a player and bring in new blood, and that's it. So that's what it is. It's about refreshing the squad, and I think that's where Man City are at the moment. I think they'll still come good at the end of the season. They always do. They know how to do it. They know how to turn it on at the end of the season. But I think if you're looking at a season where Man City might be in trouble this season to not win the league, it might be this season, with Liverpool and Arsenal really purring there to try and win the title this season. So I don't worry about Man City's form. I think Man City will come good at the end of the season. They achieved a big achievement last season. I think that's one of the things that can hurt Tottenham this season. That was going to hurt Man City this season, especially the fact that they played in the World Cup. There was a World Cup in the middle of it as well. And so for me, yeah, they might look like, they are downhearted, they feel down, and that's it. But overall, you can see why, because of what they achieved. And it's hard to achieve something similar to what they achieved or better last season. It was always going to be a tall task because of the energy they put in last season. And that's the reason why I think they may look bored, and that's it. But they will still come good this season. At the end of the season, they'll still be up there fighting for the title, and they will come good, and they will buy players in January, I think, as well. So I'm not looking down at them. I'm not writing them off at all, because if you write a team like that off at your peril, you're going to be absolutely embarrassed, and that's it. And I think it's embarrassing that people are writing them off, saying that they've lost a little bit of thunder. Yes, they have, but that's not because they've lost a bit of effort. It's because they achieved a big achievement last season. That's for me, shows you the energy that they've shown was a lot that they could have. They achieved a lot last season. They achieved a lot last season. It's hard to achieve what they achieved last season and try and achieve it again. That's what I'm trying to say, and that's it. But big up to everybody who's still in the chat today. Big up to everybody. We're still getting on with the show. And this is another subject, number 4. Subject number 4. And with this subject, we're going to talk to you about why Ange Postegulu will not be Mr. Box Office's favourite manager. It's quite a simple reason. It's not because I hate the guy. It's not because I hate the guy at all. I think in 2023, Tottenham, you don't have, managers don't hang about. Now, that might be a hypocritical statement when you see Guardiola, you see people like Eddie Howe, You've got people like David Moyes. You've got people like Klopp, Jurgen Klopp. Maybe that is the case, but the fact is, managers don't hang about a lot of the time though, and they're never there long term. I think they're more coaches now, and you just got your entourage around them, and that's it. And for me, I can never really connect with a manager anymore, and I don't think I'll ever connect with Postecoglou, because whether or not I still need convincing by him, I don't think he'll be here long enough for us to really get connected anyway. That's just me, just feeling of it right now. I think as soon as the top job comes in, Liverpool, Man United, I think he'll be off. And it's nothing against him. I just think the managers don't have that actual connection with the team anymore. I think you have the backroom staff that keep to the philosophy of what the team, the actual club wants, and which is what Tottenham are going to do. And even Tottenham Hotspur look like they're planning with or without Postecoglou, which is behind the scenes as well. But I don't think a manager's ever going to stick around a long time because they're always going to have a bad run, and whether that bad run means that they get sacked or leave, I don't know. Arteta's another good example. He's sticked around for a long time as well. But again, you look at it like this: it's like if Arsenal don't win the league this season, do Arsenal keep their manager? That's the question. Klopp was under threat last season. A lot of Liverpool fans wanted to get rid of him last season because of the season they had. And he won a Champions League with them and a Premier League with them. Could have won the quadruple with them as well, the previous season, before the season last season. I don't think there is a big affiliation with managers now these days. I think the whole thing I think you now have fans that are fans of managers that follow the managers around now, which I never really understood, to be honest with you, but that's how it is in 2023 now. But yeah, just my eyes, I don't think I'll ever be as connected with this manager or connected with any manager since the whole thing with Poch. I think that was kind of really the reason why I just felt that regardless whether you get connected to a manager, they're always going to end up leaving, and you're gonna have to move on. And I think that's what you learn, to just move on from the manager, and that's it. It's just you love the football. You take the memories of what they've done at your club, but you don't really get connected. And I think that's why I also say as well that you can't really buy players for a manager specifically, because you never know if that manager is going to be there for the long term. Yeah, you've got a specific strategy or specific philosophy that you want to build your players around, or buy players for that philosophy. That's important. But I wouldn't say that you would, generally, in general, buy something for a manager. I don't think you could do that. I don't think you can do that at all. And I think that's important to note about that as well. I think that's really important to note, definitely. In some ways, definitely. And that's why I think ultimately I will not be a Postecoglou fan. Even in a year or 3 years' time, I don't think I would be, because ultimately I'm just here for the football. And I admit it's been the best football since Poch. I've defended him on certain things. The game against Chelsea, Fulham, the Carabao, the Carabao Cup. I've defended him on that. I've defended him on a lot of things. The thing I have defended me on is that he said on certain occasions, he said that he's going to keep on playing this football. He's going to keep on playing this football, and If he wants to keep, and he's kept his word since. He's kept his word, and for me, that just shows you something, doesn't it? You know, he's kept his word that he's going to keep on playing his philosophy, and I understand that. Even as not someone that is a fan of Postecoglou, even I understand that. So, what does that say to you? You know, that's the thing. It's like I might not be a big fan of Postecoglou. I'm never going to be a big fan of his. I don't think I'm going to be, like I said, I'm not going to be a big fan of any manager that comes at Tottenham anymore because I'm not going to get so connected. I'm not connected with the club, but I'm not connected with the manager so much. But the thing is what he said. He's kept to his word, and you can't knock somebody for keeping their word. And the thing is, though, he's told Daniel Levy this as well. So before anybody says, "Oh, well, you should change his tactics," "Oh, we can't do that," you know, you should jump, you should change his tactics to more defensive. And I'm like, well, not being funny. Firstly, well, if he, I'm not being funny though. If he was, I'm not. Well, if he's spoken to the manager, spoken to the chairman, and told him what he's going to do, and he said, "Well, you either take it or leave it," and chairman still employed him, who's the mug? It's definitely not him. It's definitely not Postecoglou. It's certainly not Postecoglou. I can tell you that for a fact. It's definitely, it's got to be the chairman, Daniel Levy. He's the one that's brought in Scott Munn. He brought in Scott Munn. So, and that's his man, Scott Munn's man, Postecoglou. So, who's the mug? It's Tottenham the mug. He's told them already. So I don't get it. I don't get it. I honestly do not get it, and that's it. But that's why I'm not. At the end of the day, I'm not going to be on board with the whole thing with Postecoglou as a manager. I'm not. I'm never going to be in love with like other fans are, and I respect their opinion. The people know who I'm talking about. They know who I'm talking about. Who respects Mr. Boxoff, who love Postecoglou and absolutely love him, love the way he is. But for me, I will never ever be in love with, be on board with love and so in love with the manager. I'll never will be, because I don't think long term wise the manager's going to stay long term for me to do that, and that's it. And I don't get so connected to a manager anymore. I'm more connected with the club because the club are really important to me. But I won't be engulfed with the manager, and that's the way I feel, and that's it. And another thing as well, I have to say this as well, and I've heard this on a lot of streams. I've heard it with Will on Tottenham away. Big up to him. I've heard it with Last Word on Spurs, and I'm getting fed up with people saying this. Oh, we are all in love with Postecoglou. Well, stop talking for me. Don't talk for me. Do not talk for Mr. Box Office, because Mr. Box Office is not on board with Postecoglou. Yeah? I respect him, but you're not talking for me. Yeah? And I'm getting tired of people telling me, oh, we're all in happy. We're so happy. We're so happy with all Tottenham. No, not all Tottenham fans are not. So specifically, when you go on other channels and saying that is annoying, because then you're talking for Mr. Box Office, and Mr. Box Office doesn't appreciate it. Mr. Box Office isn't on board with the Postecoglou. He needs convincing still, and that's it. So when people say, "Oh, all Tottenham fans are all on board with Postecoglou," well, they're not. They're not. Because I am. I'm not. So if people can understand that and stop saying that, that is annoying. That is really annoying. And that's where I can't stand people, because when they start saying stuff and start speaking for me, you're not talking for me. You're not talking for me. But then we'll have to keep on my platform and say what I need to say on Mr. Box Office TV, and that's it. So that's a little bit of a unleashing on certain people that say, "Oh, we're on board with Postecoglou. We're on board with Postecoglou." No, we're not on board with Postecoglou. Like I said before, I still need convincing, but I still defend him when he's defending. And those people don't defend. They say, "Oh, well, he did something wrong there." I don't agree with that. I really don't agree with that. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, well, but you're the one that was saying that we're all on board, though." Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny now. You're saying that though, but you didn't say. Oh, you didn't say that before, didn't you? My gosh. But anyway, that's just the subject today on why Mr. Box Office is not Ange Postegulu is not Mr. Box Office's favourite manager. And then we're going on to the final subject, which is the preview of Tottenham Hotspur versus West Ham tomorrow under the lights at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Now, for me, if we look at the game that we played against Manchester City, we're going to get straight into it right now. When we look at the game that we played against Manchester City and we get a draw against Manchester City, well, now you need to get a result against West Ham. This is going to be an absolutely tricky game. Very tricky game. We all know what West Ham are like. This is their cup final. Yeah, this is a cup final where they always want to stick it to Tottenham Hotspur. They got players like Pateta, who for me who's been better than the Celtic all day, every single day. Sorry, I'm sorry. There's no doubt about it right now. You cannot doubt it, and that's it. The fact is, you cannot. He's been crucial in West Ham winning the trophy last season, winning the Conference League last season. They've got players like Antonio. They are a very, very good team. A very good team that have achieved a lot this season. They've achieved a lot the last couple of seasons, and they could achieve a lot this season as well. I'm just looking at the team now. I'm just looking at possible team views, and the thing that I've grasped at the moment. Well, we got Romero's back, and he'll be back into the team straight away. He'll be back into the team straight away. I think he'll come in for David. He'll come in for Emerson. He'll definitely come in for Emerson, because Emerson, regardless whether you've got a lot of things for Emerson, credit for Emerson, even though he made a few mistakes, and he did make quite a lot of mistakes, and people will argue that he really didn't have a good game, which I can see why. I can see why they say that, definitely. When you look at the West Ham team, I'm trying to get the West Ham team up right now. I'm looking at West Ham right now. They've got some very dangerous players that will be very dangerous on Thursday. One of the players I have to say right now is Kudus. Kudus looks, in that midfield, Tottenham Hotspur will have to keep an eye on him. They will have to keep an eye on him because he will be dangerous. He's scored a few goals. He's on a goal. He's on a goal scoring run at the moment. Also Souček as well, who's very tall. So we struggle against tall players. And then when you've got the crossing ability and the set piece ability of Ward-Prowse, and then you've got Paqueta, who is very good creative wise. And then you got Bowen as well, who, to be honest with you, let's be honest, he hasn't been in good form, but he can score a goal against Tottenham. He can be a problem. I think we can still get at the defence, because Mamaponos wasn't very good against Crystal Palace. Still letting a few, made a few mistakes. And even though Palace were toothless up front, they still was able to get through West Ham's defence. So we can still hurt them, 110%. With Song up front, we're playing at home under the lights. We've got a really good chance. We're gonna have Romero back in the team, which is a positive. Hopefully, Romero keeps himself calm this time, doesn't do anything stupid. Then for me, the team has got to be. It's quite simple. It's quite simple for me. The team. I'm just trying to get the team up right now, and I think really for me, the only change I would make at that team at the moment would be Emerson. At the moment, I think you can make an argument for Højbjerg to be in the team. You can make an argument. You can make an argument for it. But at the same time, I don't think Postecoglou will risk it. I don't think he can. If only if Sarr was back, possibly. But I think you have the same team. I wouldn't want Gil in the team, but I think you put Richarlison there then. Possibly you put Richarlison there rather than Gil, because Gil didn't really impress that well. You've got to play Kulusevski in the centre. You've got to be. It's got to be. You have to put him there, because if you don't, I don't think you just got to be. You have to be. You have to. And well, it's not Gil Messi. I mean, come on now. Honestly, big up to Kun Chung, but no, I'm sorry. He's no Gil Messi. That's even embarrassing, even saying that, mate. Honestly, the worst comment of the stream right now. Worst comment of the stream. Big up to you, by the way. Big up to you. But yeah, just honestly, just for me, not. Yeah, it wasn't for me. No, I think maybe play Richarlison by default. Yeah, that's that word again, by default. So really, my team would be: you've got Vicario in goal, Poor on the right. You've got Doji on the left, Romero right centre back, Davis left centre back. Then you got those are the two centre backs. Then you got Basuma in midfield with the Celso. Johnson on the right, Kulusevski on the centre. Then I have Richarlison on the left. If you want to put something, go out your way, maybe put Donnelly there. Don't think it really hurts, but again, I don't think he's ready. So yeah, I'll play Richarlison there on the left, and then you've got Son up front. Now, for me, there was going to be danger at set pieces because you've got Ward-Prowse, so we've got to keep an eye on that. Definitely, we've got to try and play in our half. We've got to really take our chances. That's important. If we miss chances, West Ham will have a chance, because you saw against Brighton. If Brighton score their chances, Brighton don't lose against West Ham. But because Brighton didn't score their chances, they lost, and West Ham scored the goals. So this is the problem. We have to take our chances. We've seen with Man City, when they miss their chances, we're able to punish them. If Tottenham Hotspur if they don't score their chances, we will get punished, because West Ham will always have something against us. They'll always have a goal against us, and they will score against us. So it's going to be a tough game. My prediction, and Sue said it in the comments. Big up to Sue, by the way. Big up to Sue Smith, by the way. Supported every single time. Big up to you. Big up to Time Added On as well, even though Alan talks a load of waffle sometimes. And how is Jay? How's Jay? How is Jay? Because Jay's deluded as well. But big up to him as well. But yeah, yeah. For me, this could be a very tight game. Well, it will be a tight game, and Tottenham Hotspur will end up. I think my prediction would be a 2-1 victory for Tottenham Hotspur. So, what is your scores? What are your scores? And now we're coming to the end of the stream now, where we're going to be wrapping up soon. But as I said before, is if you can like the stream if you can, keep liking the stream, and also try and help Mr. Box Office if you can, if you don't mind, get me up to 1,000 subscribers. We're very, very close to 1,000 subscribers, that landmark. We are very close to that 1,000 subscribers right now. And if you can like the stream as well, it would be very good if we can get up to at least 50 subscribers. Well, at least 50 likes, or well, if we could get up to 100, that'd be brilliant, absolutely fantastic. But thank you for everybody that's been watching. You, like I say, coming on the show, coming on the channel, your best, worst, and bang average top 5 is coming soon. I know it's taking a long time, but this is a different side of Mr. Box Office, less reactive. I don't really enjoy doing the reactive content that much now, because like I said, I'm kind of being flip-flop, reacting every single week. And really, to be honest, the only time I'm going to really know about Tottenham Hotspur is only seeing them in the long spells, and that's it. So, but big up, so I'm going to give you some more less reactive content in videos where you'll see a different side of Mr. Box Office, enjoying Tottenham Hotspur and giving you memories about Tottenham Hotspur. Also about the Premier League, decent, good players. Also talking about how crap XG is and how it's ruining football, and that's it. So that content is coming for you soon, and that's it. But keep it locked in. Keep subscribing. And keep your notifications on for Mr. Box Office Goes Live. This has been a more tame Mr. Box Office rather than unleashing Mr. Box Office. And that's it. But we're going to come to the end of the show. We're wrapping up soon. We're going to wrap up now. So big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to everybody. Big up to you, Contenders Can Do, Food Master. Big up to you. Big up to you, JJ. Big up to you, Mark Cook. Big up to you, Time Added On. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to you. And as I say always, as we finish off and close this show, if you didn't know, get to know, support your boy, Mr. Box Office. Subscribe and like. And I'm out.